Good job today, man. It's one at a time, and we'll get the job done. Y'all know what to say. On three. 1, 2, 3.
And the home of the Jets.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Let's Talk Jets, a very calm, censored, even-keeled program where we talk about one of the worst teams in football with a contemporary style, like we're going to use this tonight. Because we brought in the most positive Jet fan I know, who's going to ease all my tension and all my rage and all my frustration. We're going to talk about a lot of good things tonight, right, Ian?
We'll see, man. We'll see. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, man. 0-6, and I think the Jets, some way they find new lows, and I think I'm a broken fan right now. I think I've hit today at today's press conference. I think I'm completely broken, where I have a new sense of anger that I think the Jets could bring out of me, but they successfully done that thanks to Aaron Glenn, Justin Fields. But instead of starting off with anger and negativity, which sells and is good for clicks and ratings, let's talk about positives to start the game, start this whole show here, and because we need some positivity in our lives, right? Because we've been angry for over a day now. The New York Jets defense yesterday bounced back after a horrific start to the season, did a lot of really good things where you're like, wait a minute, they may actually win this game. They forced a fumble, they recovered it. Brownlee looked incredible, played much better. Michael Carter played the entire part of the season. Jermaine Johnson comes in, you get the instant energy from him. They're flying around, they're tackling. They have Bo Nix kind of roughed up a little bit. And then I think Sean Payton probably took the foot off the gas a little bit, realizing the Jets couldn't score any points. The defense, they did their job yesterday, man. They kept them in the game, getting many opportunities to win this game. Unfortunately, the offense couldn't take advantage of it.
Dude, if you, if you would have told me, the Jets defense they're going to not only just step up and look competent, but the effort's going to be better. The tackling is going to be better. All the new acquisitions, right? A healthy Jermaine Johnson, Jarvis Brownlee, Malachi Morse, subbing in for Tony Adams, all massive improvements. Steve Wilkes, right? That game plan was awesome. We were talking about it in the preview video where, because the Jets have been pretty one-dimensional up to this point, although that is a negative, that is kind of this cool curveball that you can throw at the opposing coach, which is, because you are doing the same thing over and over again, if you do decide to, try something new, that's not really on tape. So you can be caught off guard by it. And we saw a lot of, I would say, a lot more zone coverage calls, and it just looked like the defense was more comfortable out there. And I mean, man, the pass rush was better. The run defense was better. Again, the tackling, the game plan, the effort, it looked like we were in sync. And not only was the defense just great, but special teams was also great. You first of all, McNamara is an absolute find by Darren Muji so far. He is a great punter. You had the great punt coverage for the most part. You had the return men constantly setting up the Jets in midfield. You had the one really, really impressive return from Nwangu. Nick Folk in his, whatever it was, one opportunity to hit his kick. The special teams, in my opinion, deserves an A. The defense, all things considered, deserves an A. But because the offense was literally an F-, it was like it was like excruciatingly painful to watch. We find ourselves talking about another loss and a winless Jets team on October 13th.
Well, now, before we even go, listen, everybody wants to talk about the head coach, the offensive coordinator, and Justin Fields. And I promise you all, I'm going to absolutely unload because I'm absolutely fed up with this. But before we do that, the thing about the defense is they played a lot better, but there's a lot of rumblings now that the Jets could be sellers at the trade deadline, which I agree with it. Like, listen, man, get what you can. This is a true rebuild. Whether you like Glenn or not, you like Muji or not, you need to overhaul the talent on this roster and bring in a whole new mindset and the whole thing. Jermaine Johnson to me is untouchable. Jermaine Johnson should not be on the board. I know he's not. You got to give him a new contract. All pick up the option. All that stuff. I understand that, but to me, it's like he's a guy. He's like a foundation guy, like a core guy that you want to keep on this team. Is there anybody else you consider trading? To me, Michael Carter, fine. If somebody wants that contract, go for it. Quinnen Williams for me is a guy that's really interesting, dude, because he has all pro talent. Phenomenal player, good leader, good character guy, good for the locker room, very well respected. If you got the right deal for Quinnen Williams, would you consider trading him?
Depends on what the deal is, man. If it's
what's the minimum you take for him?
A first plus something.
And you
so it could be
it?
a first and a fourth, a first and a future pick or something. Now, if it, I'm not necessarily talking about like a first round pick and like a 2027 7th round pick swap, but you know what I mean, right? 2 assets coming back to the Jets, with one of those assets being a first round pick. The second one can be a young player, like another Jarvis Brownlee, another Harrison Phillips type of player, another Juwan Briggs. That would be awesome. Kind of hitting 2 birds with 1 stone, where you're getting someone that ideally fits the system. Because say what you want about Glenn, say what you want about this team freaking being winless and whatnot, and showing how just putting out pathetic performances. But Darren Muji's acquisitions have been pretty sweet, dude. Mem, Harrison, Briggs, Brownlee.
Yep.
Again, he drafted Malachi Moore. Mawanoa, right at linebacker, was awesome yesterday.
He was flying around yesterday,
and he's forced to play, and he's awesome. So look, if Darren Muji has identified another player out there, right? Say we flip Quinn into, a playoff team that really is struggling on the inside of the defensive line, and they have a player that the Jets really like, and we get a first round pick and that player. Okay, I'm up to, talk about it, because another thing that we have to factor in with the Quinnen trade, although I love Quinnen, I freaking love Quinnen. He's a constant staple, best player on the defense. He never causes problems. But if you do trade him, not only will you be getting back a sweet package, but you're also clearing $20+ million. And the Jets right now are slated to have $91 million in cap space. If all of a sudden in a couple weeks we move Quinnen, and yes, we will have a massive, a big needed D tackle. I think you can supplement it with Briggs and Harrison for the meantime. But, once the offseason hits, let's, go out and add another one, whether it's through the draft or free agency, whatever. But if you get a first round pick, a player back, or like a mid round pick, and you open up $20+ million, and now you're looking at 150 million in cap space, with 2 first rounders, and we're not talking about a Michael Carter trade. We're not talking about a Breece Hall trade. We're not talking about a Lazard trade or anything. Just moving that player alone, you get a ton of freed up cap, a first round pick, and something else. I think it's tough to pass down. And also, too, man, I do think, God, if you're Quinnen, the Jets have done absolutely nothing but lose since he's been drafted. So
he probably wants out.
Yeah, I don't see him saying, get me the hell out of here. I don't see him, pulling weird Jamal Adams tweets or anything. Like, when it just does not strike me as that type of guy. I think if anything, it's probably going to be behind the scenes. Like, hey, let's try to. I'm in the prime of my career here. I don't want to be necessarily in a situation like Myles Garrett for the Browns, where it's just like, yeah, he's getting paid a lot of money and he's a franchise cornerstone, but I think if the Jets move him to a good win now team with cap space that can afford him, I think, it would be it would be doing Quinnen, a solid, in my opinion. Like, and also too, for what it's worth, if a report comes out, Quinnen Williams requests a trade, am I going to be mad at Quinnen? No, I'm not.
No, like that. And that's kind of where I'm at right now. It's like we all love Quinnen. We love the player, but right now the Jets are a complete dumpster fire. They're in a true rebuild. They need young players. They need draft capital. They need cap space. They need all these things. And unfortunately, Quinn is not going to be in the long-term future. By the time they start winning, he's probably not going to be here anyway. And I wouldn't be surprised if he actually quietly asks for out. Like, listen, man, I try to be a good teammate here. I'm trying to do my best I can, but it's just not working for me. I can't go through another rebuild. He actually tweeted about it when Aaron Glenn was first hired. Like, I don't want to go through another rebuild. And now he sees the writing on the wall where they are at rock bottom, going to get worse. And if he says something fine, like, it's not like we don't like the player, but it's like at this point, it's about collecting capital, right? Like for me, Michael Carter can go. You hate to see Quinn go, but to me, Jermaine Johnson is a guy that I don't want to let go because I think he's a building block, explosive young playmaker. He's a leader. He's vocal. He's fiery. Pass rushers are hard to find, as Jet fans know. We haven't had one in forever. Now we have a couple of him and Will McDonald. Keep those guys. Work on building the interior defensive line, and you move on. Michael, like I said, Michael Carter, fine, don't care. I don't think Sauce is going anywhere. I think the contract is kind of preventing anybody from trading for him, right?
Well, yeah, and I mean, for what it's worth, too, like even though,
bro, by the way, a quick timeout, 81-yard touchdown for Bijan Robinson, 21-7.
Oh, you got the game on?
21-7 Falcons over the Bills.
Yeah, that reminds me. So I flipped the game off. Is the Wi-Fi okay on my end? Am I glitching or lagging?
Yeah, you're good right now. Yep.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I had to flip everything off just to, open up more whatever bandwidth or however the freaking Wi-Fi works, whatever. But yeah, I mean, in regards to Michael Carter, if you're a team like the Raiders, 49ers, Robert Saleh, Falcons, Jeff Ulbrich, right? If you want to go out and make a trade for Michael Carter, be my guest. Yep. That's another player where you're going to be clearing a lot of money, assuming that the other team would be taking on the contract. Yep. But with Carter, although you have that similarity with Quinnen, right, where you're clearing a bunch of money, I don't really care what the return is because we don't have to worry about the replacement. The replacement's already on the roster in Brownlee. So if you want to trade Michael Carter for a 7th round pick, I love Michael Carter. Seems like a really good dude. Has been a great performer for us up until this season. I'm fine with it, right? If they want to move on, 7th round pick again, because you don't have to now pivot and say, okay, well, we're losing this player. Now we have to go maybe spend that resource or that asset on replacing him. It's like, no, we can trade Michael Carter and we're upgrading with Brownlee. And now it's almost like you're doing the trade to take the to really just take the contract off of, the salary for the, for the future. So that to me just feels like a win-win. And it's not to say that Michael Carter is going to go on, to his new team and just be terrible. I just don't really feel like he fits what the Jets want to do. Yep.
So we covered the defense, we covered the special teams, and now we're going to talk about our favorite topic of the New York Jets, their offense. Yesterday, I'm an old fan, dude. We know this. I'm very old. I'm very frustrated. I hate losing. But what I hate more than losing is incompetent coaching. I hate incompetent quarterback play. And yesterday was one of the worst offensive performances I've ever seen in my entire life. This is coming from a guy that's seen Luke Falk play, watched Zach Wilson play, Trevor Siemian, Bryce Petty, all these guys over the years. Yesterday was so unacceptable on so many friggin' levels. And the fact that this arrogant, stubborn coach that keeps talking about accountability did not bench Justin Fields at halftime, the 3rd quarter, or the 4th quarter for the best interest of the team to actually win the game is embarrassing. Aaron Glenn embarrassed himself yesterday, and he embarrassed himself even more by doubling down today by asking a very simple question. Why didn't you bench Justin Fields? He's worried about perception. He's worried about how that would look. I don't care how it looks. Are you here about worried about Justin Fields' ego, the contract you gave him, his career, or are you worried about winning football games? It's about winning games, dude. You do what's in the best interest of your team day in and day out. You made a really bad decision yesterday with Justin Fields, and you're doubling down and defending this kid when it's not worth it. 9 sacks, -10 passing yards. The kid looked dazed, confused, and absolutely lost on the field yesterday. He didn't know what in the hell he was doing. He didn't. He was just like locked. He just didn't know what was going to happen. He couldn't complete a screen pass. Garrett Wilson's literally hurt because Justin Fields is inaccurate. Holding on to the ball too long when he did throw it was inaccurate, right? It was awful, dude. And Glenn is so locked in with this guy. This could cost Glenn his job here if he stays this loyal because everybody knows Tyrod should be playing now. In my eyes, Justin Fields is not the answer. The fact he's not starting this Sunday is embarrassing. And if he does, he's got to be a short lease. If Justin Fields comes out and plays awful the first quarter, he's going to get booted off the field. First of all, you've got to bench him. Because if not, you're going to lose the locker room. You saw it yesterday with Garrett Wilson. You saw Membu getting kind of the line getting pissed off. Like he's holding on to the ball this long. It's a disaster, man.
The beauty of the Justin Fields contract by Muji, and by the way, this stream, I'm probably sounding like Muji's biggest fan, but the beauty of the contract was it wasn't long and it wasn't a lot of money. 2 years, 40. Right now, Justin Fields is the 20th highest paid quarterback in football.
Yep.
That is not a commitment. That's not fully committed. That's not the equivalent of drafting a quarterback in the top 5, let alone the first round. That's not the equivalent of handing out, a massive extension. Here you go, Tua. Here's this humongous contract because we feel forced into doing it. This is not a power, type of move. Oh, the Jets are, or Denver's acquiring Russell Wilson, or Cleveland's acquiring Deshaun Watson. No, this was a trial run. A trial run with Justin Fields.
Yep.
I mean, look at Baker Mayfield's deal with the Bucs when he initially signed 1 year, $5 million. Look at Darnold's backup contract that he signed with Minnesota. Like, things, worked out for those guys, but they weren't, those contracts weren't like, we're all in. With Justin Fields here, 2 years, 40 at the going rate for a starting quarterback is not fully locked in. So my question, or why I'm so frustrated with it, and mind you, the Jets actually have a capable functioning backup for freaking once in Tyrod Taylor. It's not like it's, you're moving on to some just unknown question mark where, like Tim Boyle or something. It, like, you look back at Jets history, like you have Mike White, I mean, Kellen Clemens way back in the day, Mark Brunell a little bit. But anyway, the point is, you have Tyrod Taylor sitting there. Why? And if you're Aaron Glenn, I understand you don't want to throw your quarterback under the bus. You don't want to, sit up there on the podium and
Who cares?
Well,
who cares, dude? It's like,
okay.
This isn't a rookie quarterback, dude. This isn't his third game in the NFL. He's a veteran quarterback that's been there, done it, already been through it in Chicago. If you play terribly and you get benched, it's justified. You know what that's called? It's called accountability. You can't worry. If he is that fragile, that benching him is going to hurt his feelings, he's not made for it anyway, which he's not, and he's going to get back. He's not good anyway. But this, oh, we can't do this. We can't. Why? Why not? Everybody can get benched in the NFL, especially if you've accomplished nothing. It's not Fields had 10 great games, 300-yard games, 5 touchdowns a week, and now this is a surprise. He hasn't been good minus fourth quarters when he's going against garbage time. This is ridiculous.
So I'm not sure. So I'm not arguing in the defense of Justin Fields. I'm simply saying, if you're Aaron Glenn, you can justify not slamming the guy in the post-game presser, but you can definitely handle that situation a lot better. I mean, it just felt
by benching him during the game. That's when you handle it.
That move should have been made. If you play Tyrod Taylor in the second half, the Jets win that game.
But that's my problem. Aaron Glenn is a head coach. Yesterday, he came off completely incompetent. We'll go into time management, game manager. This was some amateur hour nonsense here he made Todd Bowles look like a genius yesterday, where it's like Justin Fields, the obvious answer was, when you have 2 completed passes, when you have 2 yards, when you have negative, like, all these stats are telling you, get this kid out of the game. And when you walk away, first of all, after the game, he's like, I'm not sure why you guys are asking these questions. I thought he wasn't that bad. Embarrassing. And then today he's like, yeah, we can't bench him because, it's the way things would look. The things they look right now is you're 0-6, coach, and we don't want you to be a one and done, but you're talking yourself out of a job right now. The biggest priority is the locker room, not Justin Fields' ego or his personality or his feelings.
Right. And so that was the point that I was trying to make before. You look at a team like the, ironically enough, Carolina Panthers, right? We're playing them this week. That's not why I bring them up. The reasoning why I say Carolina is because they drafted Bryce Young number 1 overall. And up to this point, if you go back to like last season and stuff like that, there were a big group of Panthers fans that are like, we have to do something here. Bryce Young is, might not give us the best chance to win. They ultimately went with Andy Dalton for a little bit. But they're in a predicament because they invested the number 1 draft selection in Bryce Young, and they have to figure it out. There is major investment there. Jalen Hurts with the Eagles, right? I've been seeing so many Eagles fans upset about Jalen Hurts' accuracy, and you see AJ Brown's comments, and you're seeing the report about Devontae Smith, and you're having accuracy question marks, and they lost 2 straight games, and Kevin Patullo, all of these offensive question marks, they should be better. Well, Hurts is not only just on a massive mega deal, but he also is a Super Bowl champion. So it's not like it's not a situation where the Eagles can just say, all right, yeah, we're going to put in the backup. They are invested financially in Jalen Hurts.
Right.
again, the point that I was making before, 2 years, $40 million. Why would Aaron Glenn continue to dig his heels in with Justin Fields when moving to Tyrod Taylor is completely 100% justified by, internal standards, by external standards? There's no pressure. When Zach Wilson was here, Mike White, one of the best, again, talking about the Jets backups, was not brought back because they didn't want to rock the boat with Zach Wilson's feelings. Yep. They wanted to make sure that he was still the franchise guy. You still have the keys to the castle. We don't want to add someone or keep someone in the locker room that maybe players like more than you, or maybe the offense is a little bit better with Mike White. So if Zach Wilson, God forbid, struggles, now there's this, there's articles being released. There's everyone's talking about, when, quarterback competition, when are they going to make the change? Douglas, Saleh, they decided, no, we'll just cut bait. We'll try to go find, another backup elsewhere. And it didn't work. It wasn't the right move. It wasn't in the best, it wasn't the best football decision. They did it because they pandered to the second overall pick, again, because they were invested in him. With Justin Fields, this is a trial run free agent. I just don't understand by the way, I hope I'm dead wrong. I hope Justin Fields, because Fields is going to be starting against Carolina, I hope he goes out and balls out.
But he's not, we know he's not the long-term answer, dude. He's not. Right. This is the thing right now is what we're trying to do, and we keep talking about, is this is an evaluation season. You want to evaluate the head coach, the offensive coordinator, the O-line coach, the quarterback, the offense, and your players. Right now, Justin Fields' quarterback doesn't allow you to run your offense. We don't even honestly know what Tanner Engstrand is, because he can't complete a friggin' screen pass. He can't complete a sideline pass. He just can't throw the football. Like, that's the problem. So we want to rip Engstrand, but at some point your playbook keeps shrinking. Like, well, he can't complete this one, can't do that, can't do this. Like, what? And that's why you take him out.
Yeah, dude. And that's another, just major question that I have, because it's like, if you're watching the Jets offense, they don't really throw it down the field.
Nope.
They don't really get Fields outside of the pocket.
Nope.
You don't really feel like anyone is involved outside of Garrett Wilson as an actual threat pass catcher.
Dude, Breece Hall had no catches yesterday. How does Breece Hall have no catches out of the backfield yesterday? How do you not use a screen pass? Everybody, the Broncos defense is so good. You didn't even find ways to slow them down with a quick passing game. Like, it's just, that's on Engstrand, dude, right? That has to be. There's no way Breece shouldn't have been active yesterday in the passing game. No way in hell.
Yeah, well, Engstrand didn't have a good game. Engstrand's offensive game, like that, it just, and, credit Vance, and it was a good defense and everything, but still, it wasn't good, from a coaching standpoint, it wasn't good enough. But the point is, if you're Tanner Engstrand, or, I mean, really, if you put yourself if you're watching this Jets offense on Sunday, you're thinking to yourself, they don't really utilize that part of the field. They don't really do this. They don't really do that. It feels, watching this feels like the OC is handcuffed by Justin Fields' skill set. And so if that's a fact, then the question, or, how should I say this? The reasonable train of thought would be, you know what, Aaron Glenn, Tanner Engstrand, let's try to figure out a way to maybe get Tyrod Taylor involved, or let's announce him as the start. Something. We have to figure out a way to move in a different direction. But they're like doubling down on Fields, it's just very concerning, because it feels like the offense is handcuffed. Again, you would think, okay, because of that, they would like to ideally try to get out of it. Again, think of like Bryce Young early on with the Carolina Panthers. They're trying to justify, like, okay, how do we go to Andy Dalton and it not be this massive storyline and create a whole bunch of drama, whatever. We're actively trying to figure this out. But then the actions with the Jets are, post game, it's no, Fields is the guy. That's a stupid question when the reporter asked it. It's just like, okay, like they're for some reason digging their heels in to Justin Fields.
But here's my problem is, it's no secret, Tyrod Taylor is, and I understand he's old. I understand it's a hurt. I understand all these things. And I'm not calling Tyrod Taylor great. He is a better passer of the football than Justin Fields. That is just a fact. It is. Your offense can run smoother with Tyrod Taylor. He's not as explosive. He's not going to those 70-yard runs, all this, but that's just it. And the players know it, dude. They knew it in practice. They see it, but they're like, all right, they bought into the athleticism of Justin Fields, but they're not even maximizing that. And now he can't throw the ball at all, which is it's just ridiculous. And we'll go touch this one real quick. It says, going into next year, do you guys think it's better to bring a rookie quarterback into the offense or get a guy like Mac Jones or Kyler Murray? And the problem we have now is to even answer that question is, do we have any faith in Aaron Glenn and Tanner Engstrand to to cultivate a good offense and actually train and help a young quarterback and develop them? And that question we can't even answer right now because after 6 games, we don't know what the hell this staff is other than really, really questioning the head coach. So you're watching things that are really alarming. And Engstrand's not able to run his offense with a quarterback that has this inability to complete a pass.
Well, I mean, you know what's interesting? The Jets signed Justin Fields, whatever, they move on, or they move in this new direction with Tanner Engstrand, right, as the brand new OC. It seems like when you're watching, again, Engstrand call plays, when you're watching the offensive game plan, there's an obvious commitment to running the football.
Yep.
But when it comes to the passing game, there's so many 3 to 5 step drops, right? Where Fields is dropping back in the pocket, trying to analyze, trying to read the defense, and he's trying to get the football out most of the time to targets that are in standstills. They're not moving.
Yep.
There's how many times, when you're thinking about Justin Fields, trying to complete a pass, it's to a tight end over the middle of the field, kind of standing there, coming back to the quarterback. How many seam routes have we seen? Mason Taylor up the seam and he's catching it over the shoulder.
Exactly.
Arian Smith down the field, he's catching it over the shoulder. Not a whole lot. I mean, you could probably count on, I would probably say under 10 times in 6 total games. You had the Garrett Wilson touchdown in Pittsburgh, but it just feels very, I want my quarterback to play within the pocket.
No, can I ask you a question while you're on this thought?
Yeah.
Is this a mandate from Aaron Glenn and the staff to tell Justin Fields, don't be overly aggressive, don't throw the interception? Because think about this. I'll never forget the training camp quote from Engstrand. Take what the defense is giving you. Take those short things. 3 short passes is the first down. We don't need to have the 10-yard pass. We'll look at is this a mandate from Aaron Glenn saying, listen, kid, stay within our offense. Don't go on your own and do things. Don't get all, crazy with it. Is that why Fields is so locked up?
It might be, but that thought, I don't even necessarily disagree with. Because you see that formula win football games. You see that formula be implemented early on in the season for teams where you have a really good defense and you have, some playmakers, and it's just the job of the quarterback. Hey, don't screw this thing up. We will win many games if we're not throwing three INTs. I think the problem up to this point is just the defense has not been good. We don't really have many weapons outside of 2 with of course, the slow emergence of Mason Taylor here. But again, it just feels like Tanner Engstrand naturally wants his quarterback to drop back in the pocket and deliver the pass from the pocket.
But I think
if he naturally wanted to, run a system with a running quarterback, we would see a lot more designed runs. We would see.
And why the hell they signed Justin Fields then? If they want a pocket passer, it's not what he is. Aaron Glenn's comment was, we want to maximize Justin Fields' ability. Then why isn't he running out? Why are you rolling him out of the pocket? Why are you not giving him easy passes to complete and build his confidence up? Why are you going run, third and long pass? They're not helping him either, dude, with the play calling. And with the passes, he can't complete anyway, so it doesn't make a difference. But this is, if you're saying we want a pocket passer, this is the last guy you should have picked up for $40 million. The last guy.
Well, what I'm saying is I don't think Tanner Engstrand is pounding on the table saying I want a pocket passer, but I think it's, when you just watch the play calling tendencies, because naturally speaking, if you want to run a system with one of the best athletes at the quarterback position and you're trying to if you want to run a system like that, where you have a running quarterback, think like Greg Roman, right? Greg Roman has had he's had Tyrod Taylor in Buffalo, Kaepernick in San Francisco, Lamar Jackson, right? He's that is a guy that you can say, okay, here's a running quarterback, and you feel really good about him saying, okay, I want a runner because I know how to use them, and this is how we're going to do it. And he goes out and executes it. It just doesn't really feel like it's the system is a good fit for Fields up to this point. Now, maybe that does change over time, and Engstrand kind of bends his play calling to Fields.
But isn't that his job to adjust it, though?
Yes, ultimately,
Well,
yes.
the problem is you don't say, okay, I have a system. You figure out how to fit in it. You say, no, we signed this quarterback. Let me adapt my system to this quarterback so we can all flourish. That's the problem I
True,
have right now, right?
true, but Ingstrand is a first-year guy, so I don't necessarily think that he should have all the answers.
But I mean,
He's learning on the fly as well.
I understand that. I get that. But then but it looks like, how does every other team in the NFL figure out how to win with backup quarterbacks, rookie quarterbacks, all this, and the Jets can't figure it out. And this is why we didn't want the first time head coach and the first time quarterback, because they're learning on the job. But are they really learning? Because the things they're doing are alarming and it's not working. And Fields is not working. And that they're refusing to make a change, which is bothering me, because I want to really evaluate what Engstrand is, because I want to understand what his mindset is, what his approach is when we give him another young quarterback next year, right? That's the whole thing. It's an evaluation year for Engstrand as well, to figure out if he's even competent or not. This reminds me of Mike LaFleur. Yeah. It reminds me exactly of Mike LaFleur. We had absolutely no idea what he was until we saw everybody else run his offense, and it was good, right? Everybody but Zach could run his offense.
Yeah,
right?
Yep. Yeah, and then I literally think that Mike LaFleur was fired the next day. He was hired by the LA Rams to be their offensive coordinator. Like, this is just, there's a saying, right? Good teams find ways to win, bad teams find ways to lose.
Yep.
And every freaking week, whether it's the Jets getting blown out, Buffalo, Dallas, whether it's some weird, catastrophic, rare play, Xavier Gibson fumbling on special teams, Braylon Allen fumbling literally on the goal line. And then you had the whole halftime blunder against the Dolphins. You had the halftime just crap show against Denver.
No, let's talk about this. No, so again, Aaron Glenn is a coach that he's talking to all the right people, he talked to Bill Parcells this morning, which makes me feel great. You know what? If I talked to Joe Rogan this morning, I'm not a better podcaster. You know what I mean? Like, this Aaron Glenn keeps throwing all these names out there, bro. We don't care who you talk to. We don't care what you did in Detroit. It doesn't really matter. What we saw yesterday from a first-time head coach in a 3-minute drill before halftime was utterly ridiculous. And if it was any other coach, if this was a coach in his second year, he should have been fired. We'd say, you got to fire this guy, because he is in over his head. He doesn't understand basic time management and basic game management, to the point where he was getting roasted by the announcers on TV, to the point where Garrett Wilson was losing his mind on the sideline, and rightfully so. Dude, that yesterday, for this coach that thinks he studies all these things, and where he burned himself was, he said, the last 4 minutes of the half and the last 4 minutes of the game are on the head coach. That's his time to shine. Okay, let's talk about those last 4 minutes of yesterday in the half and the end of the game. He blew it, dude. And he tried to justify it after the game. And I'm like,
I know.
You're not the thing that bothers me. I'm going to rant just for a second, though. But the thing that bothers me the most, he acts like he's the smartest guy in the room, and we don't know football. We don't know what we're talking about. He knows it all. And he made the grossest mistake before halftime and tried justifying it. Like, what? What are you talking about?
Dude, well, I mean, by the way, it's funny you mentioned that, because who does that sound like? It sounds like Saleh. It sounds like Joe Douglas. It sounds like Rodgers.
This was worse. This was worse than Saleh. Yesterday was worse than Saleh. That's saying a lot, dude.
I don't think I've ever seen it. I don't think I've ever seen an offense like simultaneously try to waste the time. Try to.
They did a fake
go
punt,
for
dude.
it on fourth down.
They did a fake punt to get to that
punt too. Yeah, like they're trying to like conserve time and then waste time to get to halftime, literally simultaneously. Like, what are you guys? What are you doing? And Glenn's response was like, you want to pick up the first down, so the other team can't get the ball back and go down the field and score right before halftime. You want to keep it like a one possession game. That way you get the ball back coming out. But, which is somewhat like, you can probably find a million coaches that, especially defensive minded coaches, that they want to just kind of hang in the fight. But the problem is, it's when it looks that just incoherent, it's a problem. It is a problem. And also, I don't think it sends the right message to the offense or the offensive players.
Nope.
Like, that just screams, I have no faith in you, Fields to throw the ball. I have no faith in our receivers to catch the ball and make plays down the field. And if you really want to argue that point, you can say like, okay, well, Nick Bonito is the leading sack leader. The Broncos have the number one defense. You don't want to, Fields is holding on to the football left and right every single play. What happens if Fields holds on to the football and you have a strip sack and now the Broncos are, in a position to capitalize? What was the game? I think it was the Dolphins game where the Jets had some freaking weird thing where I literally missed it, dude. I thought we were going to halftime. I get up, I go get a drink or something. I come back and the Dolphins scored.
Yep.
It was Achan. I think on the sidelines, Tony Adams didn't try on the tackle. You remember that? It was like this massive drive, right before halftime. So I think maybe that's what Glenn was afraid of. But as a head coach,
it's a loser mindset.
You can't be afraid of things like that. You need to be able to look at what happened, figure out what went wrong in the past, and then have confidence in your players to adjust moving forward.
Here's the problem. Glenn likes to talk about all the things he learned from Dan Campbell. He with the Lions, we did this. With the Lions, we did this. He did the absolute opposite of Dan Campbell. He went into his shell. He got scared. He got scared to fail. He got scared to lose. He got scared to make a play. He's like, oh, you know what? And then the excuse, we're getting the ball in the second half. So why even play in the first half then, bro? Just mail in the first half, get the ball in the second. That mindset is ludicrous, dude, to the point where the players can be like, this coach is all this. I'm built for this. We're tough. We're aggressive. We're all this. Dude, he talked it and did not walk it at all. He looked like a timid, over in his, just lost. He lost. I think you lose a locker room, especially when you go in the locker room. You obviously scared to throw the ball, scared to run your offense, and then you bring Justin Fields back out in the third quarter. That was the time to say, listen, man, things are going really badly here. We got to make a change. We want to win this game. You bench Fields at halftime then, dude.
Yeah, that's kind of like the mindset that you're talking about. A lot of defensive coaches have that. We saw that with Rex, ground and pound. We saw that with Todd Bowles. He always kind of felt like a more conservative coach. It's solid to a certain degree, not as much as the other two, and definitely not as much as Glenn. And I do think that's kind of like this common, trait with just amongst defensive coaches, right? They are so ingrained in the defense side of the football, but no, the offense can't just be that anemic, dude. And I if you're thinking okay, what's actually going through Aaron Glenn's mind? Whatever. Yeah, he wants to probably regroup at halftime, come out with the, with halftime adjustments made, go over everything. And then he's thinking, okay, 1-score game, we get the ball. Now we can go down the field and tie or get the lead. And we're back in this thing, which is not, again, a horrible, horrible approach. But, when the offense is just that horrific and they have no answers for anything, dude. They're not creative.
Nope.
Fields is missing wide open guys. It's just he's so hesitant. It almost looks like he doesn't even, just deer and headlights, just completely freezing.
Yep.
There was a play where Mason Taylor, popped out. Everyone's been referencing it. If you really want to nitpick, Mason probably could have flipped his head a split second earlier, but Fields is looking right at him and is just not throwing the ball. He's not playing free. He's not playing loose. And so just to continuously stick with Fields, I just feel like, again, man, if Tyrod, even if you want to just skip the third quarter too, right? You put Fields out there for the third and you stick Tyrod in there for just the fourth quarter alone. Yep. I still think the Jets would have won that game, man. Dude, in the end, as bad as the offense was, if we had an extra 25 yards offensively in the last drive, we could have kicked a game-winning field goal.
There's two. That last drive. The last drive was embarrassing because you didn't need that many yards, dude. All you had to do is the Jets run the ball endlessly all game long with the game on the line. Now they're dropping back to pass. Why? You needed what?
That was very similar to Pittsburgh in week 1.
But it's all you needed was 8 yards, dude. 8 yards. Run the ball, just a little, you do a dump pass to Breece Hall, anything you want. Just get the ball moving forward 5 more yards. And then you're in Nick Folk's range and you win the game. I streamed it. I'm like, don't drop back the pass. Boom, sack. Here we go. Because on 4th and 8, they ain't getting that pass. There's no way in hell they're completing a pass on 4th and 8. They couldn't do it the entire game. So they completely mishandled that. Let's talk about that wasted timeout on 4th and 1, which was completely ridiculous.
Yeah, that was another.
But these are all things where it's a fine line between you're a first-time head coach and you're learning on the job, or you're just incompetent. And he explained it today. And he talked about it. I'm like, wait a minute. don't justify mistakes where you know you're wrong. I'd rather you just own it. You know what? Like he owned, like he blew the halftime offense. Okay, you blew that, great. But you can't, this is the pains of a first-time head coach, but the way it's going down, I have no patience for it. And it makes you wonder how good of a coach he is. And I guess our only evaluation is, does he do this again 5 weeks from now, right? That's the only thing. All right, maybe he does learn from it. But going through it absolutely sucks, dude.
We can look at the other, because I've seen like a lot of people comparing to Mike Vrabel. Oh, we should have hired Vrabel. Vrabel was not coming to the Jets. Nope. When Mayo left, it was a shoo-in. He's going to New England. Vrabel has coached up for a long time, right? I think the fair comparison is to Kellen Moore, Brian Schottenheimer, Ben Johnson. Granted, all offensive guys.
Yep.
But in all three situations, and for Ben Johnson and the Bears, Schottenheimer and the Cowboys, better team situations, obviously. But dude, you have Kellen Moore and the talent deficient New Orleans Saints hanging in games with the Patriots, with the Bills,
Spencer Rattler
getting their first win over the Giants. You have Spencer Rattler playing pretty solid football. No one's saying he's top 10, but he's taking care of the ball. He's a great TD to INT ratio so far. He's keeping them in games. That is, and it. Look, the Saints have some good players. I don't want to, be disrespectful there, but oh my god, like you have a team in New Orleans, right? Who do they play earlier in the season? They were going back and forth with, like, they're hanging in games, and there's like, if you're a Saints fan, you're probably watching these games saying, you know what? Yeah, it sucks. We're only a 1-win football team, but when we start getting some talent, when we start hitting the draft, when we start opening up some more cap space, get ready, because Kellen Moore he knows what he's doing. He looks like he's in control. Schottenheimer, it hasn't been perfect. He's lost a couple games. I mean, like he just lost to Carolina this past weekend. Credit the Panthers, right? Pretty big time win for them. But he, toe to toe with the Eagles. He blew out the Jets. 40-40 tie with the Green Bay Packers. Like, there are moments where, as a Cowboy fan, you're like, hey, this team is like, they look like they're playing more efficient football, faster under Schottenheimer than McCarthy. That switch, like, you can tell was needed. Ben Johnson, I think, started off really rough, and he kind of has like the air. Maybe it's like a Detroit thing, because he has some spats with the media too, where like someone asks a question and he doesn't like it, he's just gonna go right back at the reporter. Like, he's had some nasty moments like that, as well. But at least, and I think he's actually playing right now. The Chicago Bear game's on. But at least he has a couple wins under his belt. At least there's some moments where it's just like, okay, that's why we got Ben Johnson. With Glenn up to this point,
nothing.
I think we can talk about run blocking, running the ball, and then how the defense looked against Denver. But that's pretty much it.
There's not a lot right now. Like, and this is like, and I'm not saying the whole one and done thing yet, but he is making the case for himself very, very difficult. KD, first of all, thank you, man. Am I the only one who's more confused about Sean Payton not calling a timeout to get the ball back? Nick was playing well in that first half, and the Jets get ball back in second. Yeah, Sean Payton did some questionable things yesterday too, but I think he had no fear of losing that game. I think at the end of the day, he realized the defense is great and the Jets weren't going to score. He got conservative too, man, with Bo Nix.
Yeah, which was confusing to me, because literally, dude, Sean Payton's an offensive guy. He's been coaching for a long, long time. He's coaching against his, what would it be, protege and Aaron Glenn? You would think that he would have kind of that inside info on how to attack this defense. Literally every time this season, Tua, Mike McDaniel, Baker Mayfield, Grizzard, right? Todd Bowles, Bucks, Rodgers, Tomlin, Josh Allen, Buffalo. Every game, Dak Prescott, Schottenheimer, they are foot on the gas pedal, just fully on the throttle. We're coming right at this Jets defense's neck, and we got to force them to stop us. And in every single case up to this point, they couldn't. So I was shocked to see Sean Payton kind of like go into the shell. But to, give Wilkes some credit here, like, they were doing some different things. They had different players in the game. The game is being called differently. I really like the defensive game plan, and it freaking sucks that it was wasted.
It was wasted. And it's now you're sitting in a spot where you're 0-6. Garrett Wilson's now out 2 weeks. Now it's like, Ian, not to say I told you so, but I think we talked about this, where The Jets are one Garrett Wilson injury away from being in deep trouble on offense. Not that they're actually using Garrett, but now you're looking at an offense that hopefully doesn't have Tyrod Taylor at some point, that your best receiver is going to be Josh Reynolds or maybe Mason Taylor. I don't even know who it is. Mason Taylor.
See, dude, if it was me, man, if I'm Aaron Glenn, you know who's playing? Brandon Smith is playing. Pritchett's playing. Skinner's playing. This is just like, okay, Garrett Wilson can't play. He's the only viable wide receiver. You know who's playing? All these young guys. This is a showcase for all these, you know, young practice squad players to get some valuable reps. You know, I don't want to say in a meaningless game here, but, you know, for these guys, like, you put Skinner out there in like a do or die playoff situation. Okay, that's like kind of questionable, but in this situation where you're winless, you got to start throwing stuff at the wall, seeing what sticks. What happens, dude, if Skinner has 6 catches for 50 something yards, that would be more than Lazard, Reynolds, Tyler, all these different guys over the course of multiple games, you know? So I don't know. If I'm Glenn, I'm spinning the Garrett Wilson injury as a positive. You know, I'm not saying, you know, I don't think we're going to be better off with Garrett Wilson hurt, clearly, but hey, this is an opportunity for all these young guys to show up. I don't want to see Lazard and Reynolds taking all these snaps and the passing game doing nothing. At that point, whether we win or whether we lose, what are we actually learning about the team moving forward?
Yep. Well, and that's the thing. It's the one thing. This is, again, it pisses me off. The thing is, it's when you don't have a quarterback that can throw the ball. We don't even know what Arian Smith is, dude. Like, I was begging for a deep throw. Like, please extend, go vertical once, open up the offense, see what this kid can do. They did it once. We have no idea what Arian Smith is. Get him involved in the offense. Just put the ball in his hands any way you can. And like they activated Brendan Smith yesterday. Like, I'm with you, dude. To see like Malachi Moore play, great, awesome. The linebacker playing great. Like, let them all the kids play. I want to see AZ Thomas play at some point. Get these guys all playing time in a lost season, especially on offense, dude. You have to. You have no choice because this is, you figure Reynolds won't be here next year. Lazard won't be here next year. A lot of these guys aren't going to be here next year. So get them playing time now. So next year they're not going to be like starstruck by like, oh, this is the NFL. They have ample game time, the game experience. But again, Garrett Wilson's hurt. That sucks. Mason Taylor is the only tight end doing anything. Stone Smart, nothing. Ruckert, nothing. It's like to me, Tyrod's got to play.
What about you know who I'm also playing? Sorry to cut you off. Jelani Woods. How about that? How about we get Jelani Woods, the 6'7" target in the passing game?
Fine with me. Dude, you've got to start figuring out what's going on with, like, what is on this team as we gut it and hopefully can rebuild next year. But this is really tough, dude. This coach is making it very difficult where you're trying not to say he should be fired, but he's not making a good case for himself. And now it's like, what do we want to see going forward? You want to see a competent offense. You have because I guess in theory, the Jets' easy part of their schedule is coming up now, right? You're playing 3 teams that you should beat or be very competitive with, right? That's the soft part of your schedule. If the Jets somehow lose all 3 of these games, bro, this is just you can't defend Aaron Glenn anymore. You can't. It's impossible, dude.
So these next 2 games against Carolina and the Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati Bengals. I mean, Cincinnati is just on a downward spiral. There's a lot of issues. I mean, when you're actually trading, giving up something for Joe Flacco in the middle of the season, and you're starting him that week, there's problems there.
Yep. If
the Jets lose to the Panthers, no disrespect, they're 3-3.
Yep.
Right? They beat the Falcons 30-0. NFL's a weird league. Beat Dallas. If they lose to the Panthers and the Joe Burrow-less Cincinnati Bengals, sorry about that.
It's all right.
Can you hear the motorcycle going by?
You're good. It's all good.
If the Jets lose to both of those teams, my hope for this team is it would be honestly at rock bottom because, you know, dude, even like look at Miami, bro. They still only have the 1 win. Yep. They're still blowing games and they can't get it figured out. Their 1 win was against us and they beat us pretty easily. The score did not really reflect how we actually performed. So these are 2 games, and I'm not saying the Jets got to win 42-7 or anything, but you got to be competent. You have to be competing. You have to be able to actually secure a victory at some point in time, because if it's not coming this week, and again, I hate to be rude, but it's not getting much easier.
Nope.
How bad does the competition have to be for the Jets to actually secure a win? Everyone else in the NFL has at least one win. I mean, even the Cleveland Browns, a myriad of different problems. They have a win over the Packers.
Yep.
The Titans that just fired Callahan, that's starting a rookie quarterback with not a whole lot of help around him. One win. They actually have a win this season. So if we cannot defeat the Carolina Panthers and or the Bengals, I just don't understand where you really go from a player standpoint. Just
Now,
like actually buying into the staff.
Yeah. Oh, then this is like, I'm going scorched earth now. I can't imagine losing the next 2 games. Now, there's 2 questions that we're getting asked a lot. And the first is, the trade deadline coming up. We talked about, what we can get for Quentin Williams, things like that. To me, Breece Hall is a really interesting player because, I still think he's lost a step. I still think he's not the player he used to be. He's still a very good running back. Not doing a lot in this offense because the offense just sucks. I honestly don't think the Jets are going to pay him next year. I don't think they're going to tag him. I think he's going to be gone. To me, the trade deadline, you'd like to trade him, but here's the caveat. Braylon Allen's hurt, dude. So it's not like you can oh, Braylon Allen, here you go. You can come in and take over like you should have. You got hurt on a kick return, which is more competence by the coaching staff. But would you still trade Breece? They literally have, Khalil Herbert, I think is back there behind Isaiah Davis. Would you trade Breece even knowing Braylon's out and you're kind of thin at running back? Or would you say, no, we can't because our limited best chance to win is having Breece here and let him walk next year?
No, because Darren Muji signed, I'm going to assume, a 5 to 6 year contract. He's not. We're already winless. If we were 3-3, 4-2, something like that, I might hold off on the Breece trade. But we're a winless football team, and if what you're saying is right, where you don't think he's going to be back,
I mean, would you want him back next year?
I love Breece, man. I love Breece, and obviously you don't really have to pay running backs a whole lot. I mean, it doesn't really matter what I want. I don't think the Jets will bring him back. I think if they truly did, they would have probably already reached an extension.
Mm-hmm.
But nevertheless, Darren Muji can't make short-sighted moves like that. It has to be a long-term vision. Like, I'm not going to risk losing a good player that multiple teams would upgrade from. Kansas City Chiefs would love Breece Hall. Chargers would love Breece Hall. Bears would love Breece Hall. Washington, Arizona. Yep. There's so many teams that Breece Hall would walk in and boom, he'd be the number 1 running back on the team. He'd be awesome. And if you were New York and he's not coming back, you got to be able to add a draft pick, because what is that draft pick? It's a player. Yep. It's a player. And you take a look at Muji's draft. It's been pretty good, all things considered, right? We're actually seeing players not only just enter the game, but actually have an impact, Yep. So
I trade him, dude. And again, this is not me hating on Breece. This is me being at the state of the team right now and me not wanting to pay him next year. And it's not it's just, he's just not, I want that money spent elsewhere. That's kind of the way I look at it. I think you can draft the running back, do something else. You want to use Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis next year, I'm fine with that. That money has to go elsewhere. To me, wide receiver, it may have to go just different positions.
Well, let me ask you, so, or let me kind of frame it like this. If you are, I mean, no other team is freaking winless, but let's just say a team, let's just say the Titans or the Saints were winless. Mm-hmm. And and Tony Pollard was having a good year for Tennessee. You as a Jet fan, mm-hmm. I say to you, do you think the Titans should trade Tony Pollard? He's probably not going to be back, but he's having a pretty good year. They obviously they're going to miss him this season. But what do you think? You're probably going to be like, okay, bad team, losing a bunch of games. You got to be seller at the deadline. He's not going to be back. Trade him. Yep. Boom. Yep. Because there's like no ties, right? But like as Jets fans, we're like, oh man, like this is like one of our guys here. But it's funny because like if you frame it like for another team out there where like I have no connection, like I have no rooting interest. It's just like, yeah, that makes total sense. You're a selling team.
And I think Breece wants out too. Like I think Breece would kind of be in a position where he's not going to be outspoken. Like I want to be traded, but I think he'd embrace being traded. He's tired of losing. You can see like some of these players are just used. They're tired of the media. They're tired of the losing. They're tired of like all this, the rebuild. And I just think he's part of those guys where he's like, I can do better elsewhere. I'm not going to get paid here. I know that. I think he'd embrace leaving here. Now, the other player that's mentioned a lot, I know for one of the talk hosts in WFAN, Evan Roberts mentioned this because everybody's just like, the Jets suck. We need answers. We got to figure something out. Justin Fields isn't it. Tyrod's going to get hurt. Now they're saying trade for Shedeur Sanders. What do you think about that? I have my opinion on this, but what would you think about trading for Shedeur Sanders this year?
Well, I think in the defense of Shedeur Sanders, I think the situation over in Cleveland is just extremely toxic, and they're just not serious. They're not serious about Shedeur Sanders. Kevin Stefanski, you can clearly tell that he does not want him.
Nope.
Stefanski's an interesting guy because there are some things that he does that just feel very egotistical. Mm-hmm. Refusing to, hand over play calling. There's just some strange stuff with Stefanski and kind of just the my way or the highway type of thing. Despite, bro, what's the Browns record over the last, let's call it like 30 games? It's freaking terrible, dude.
But Deshaun Watson didn't have the Deshaun Watson contract was an absolute joke. Deshaun Watson was terrible, dude. Awful.
Yeah. Moving on from Baker. There's so many, questionable decisions. But anyway, trading for Shedeur Sanders. To be honest with you, I think right now, if you put Shedeur Sanders in the lineup, he gives you probably a better chance. Like he would actually throw the football down the field a little bit. Ironically enough, but that would only create more eyes on this Jets team. And I don't feel like that's what the Jets need. Yep. If the Jets really want a young quarterback, there's going to be plenty in this upcoming draft. So,
but the question is this, and I agree with you. Like, listen, Shedeur could be a good player, whatever. Bringing him to this environment, this circus right now, it would just add more fuel to it. And I'm like, I don't think we really want that. But to the chat's point is, if they want to trade for a young quarterback for the trade deadline that might pop available, I'm not opposed to that. And the reason why is let him play this year, dude. Like, I don't know who that quarterback is, though. Like, say anybody, whoever it could be. Give me a young quarterback that's like, but if you could say you do that, because like right now it's like, is Brady Cook your answer? So I'm assume you bench Justin Fields, Tyrod Taylor struggling. You know what? Fields isn't the answer. Tyrod struggling. Bring in a young kid that maybe could be the future and see what he gives us. Maybe he gets a spark. Maybe we get lightning in the rock, whatever. And then we can have him already experienced for next year. Like, I'm not opposed to doing that, dude, because we already know the answers aren't on the roster now.
Yeah. Hey, give me one quick second. I gotta open up the door and let my cat out. But see, I actually, for me, I disagree.
Joe Milton, dude. I would do Joe Milton in a heartbeat.
That would be interesting. But one thing about the whole rookie quarterback situation, or trading for a young quarterback, that whole thing is you're putting pressure on him. You're putting pressure on him to play and learn the system. Because if we trade for him at week 10, right? You probably got to give the guy 2-3 weeks to get the system going. Yeah, I know. You're probably going to give the guy 2 to 3 weeks to get the system going, right? So then it's week 13, 14, 15. We're putting this young guy in who we just traded an asset for, and we're saying, okay, prove us, go prove yourself to us. Here's not a whole lot of help around.
But see, I'm not saying prove anything. I'm saying you're getting him in the building a lot earlier than next year. So if like, Joe Milton's a perfect example. That's a great one.
That is a good call.
So I know we won't be able to get him, but if you have a guy like that, you bring him in here. If you get him in here week 11, okay, so what? If he doesn't play till week 16, I don't even care. He's in the building. He's learning. He's developing a relationship with the coaching staff. He's developing a chemistry with his teammates. And then it's part of the quarterback competition for next year. It can't hurt, dude. Like this is the part of where you want to be proactive, not reactive. It's a lost season. We're trying to find answers. If we can find one this year before next year, works for me, dude. I genuinely don't care. And the whole Brady Cook thing is, if Tyrod bombs out, play Brady Cook. Who cares? Like we're not winning games with Justin Fields.
Oh my God, dude. Bottom line, if the Jets keep losing games and we have a top 5 pick, or really top 3 pick, I'm looking at quarterback. I'm looking at I think really it just boils down to this simple question: do you have a long-term? First, assuming you're in the top 3, top 5, do you have I mean, really top 10, but do you have a long-term option at the quarterback position? If the answer is no, you have to be in the market.
Yep.
You have to. Not saying you must draft a quarterback right there. Like for example, like Cleveland, horrible team, right? 1 win on the year, despite their draft class looking pretty good. Schlesinger, Judkins looks, really, really impressive. Obviously Mason Graham in the top 5. They don't necessarily need, assuming they finish bottom 5, or I guess top 5 as far as the draft is concerned, they don't necessarily need to go QB. They could go BPA, Ruben Bain, whatever decision they want to do, because they have that second first round pick from Jacksonville where you can, have, maybe a Nussmeier bottom of round 1, maybe someone, so I mean, it's too early to project late first to early seconds, on where these quarterbacks are going to fall. Personally, dude, my QB1 for me is Fernando Mendoza.
You look good.
Fernando Mendoza, I love. Not saying he's Trevor Lawrence or anything like that, but I don't know. He kind of reminds me of like when Sam Bradford came out, Jared Goff came out, like just this efficient, quick decision-making, smart, knows where to go with the football, makes a decision very fast. And then once he makes that decision, the ball is out immediately and the ball is exactly where it needs to be.
I like him too. Now, but my question for you is, this is going to sound so bad. Now, you can make a case for you want to get that Mendoza. There's a lot of guys. Everybody's like, I'm scouting quarterbacks now. It's friggin' October, so we have no choice. But for Aaron Glenn and the staff, is it better for them to have that top 3 pick to wait to use on a quarterback and help him mold and develop them, or do you have more faith in them by giving them a veteran quarterback to use and winning games that way? Because if we want to go the whole Detroit thing, Jared Goff was the answer for them. They didn't develop a quarterback there. So Aaron Glenn wasn't a part of that. He was a part of like, oh, we got rid of Stafford, we got Goff, and Goff played lights out, and he still is today.
Well, early on, Goff lost a bunch of games for Detroit.
But he was still Goff, though, dude. It wasn't like you knew he had like that ability. I understand what you're saying, but he's still a very good player. Where it's like, all right, we still have something here. We're not developing from the ground up. If you bring in Mendoza here, you're going to go through that typical rookie growing pains, learning curve. Do you want to put Aaron Glenn in that situation where you're like, all right, coach, we're going to give you that rookie quarterback, knowing that this first year is probably not going to be good again, 2 bad years in a row. You're basically, if you draft a quarterback in the top 3, you're giving Glenn at least 2 more years, right?
I mean, that just feels like an unnecessary, like I'm not going to handcuff myself to that idea if no one's like forcing me to, you know what I mean? Like, I think because look at Cam Ward and Callahan, like what just happened there.
That's true.
I think for me, man, and also, I mean, who was Eberflus? Drafts Caleb, not working out. Boom, we're going right to Ben Johnson. I got to let my cat back in the door.
This cat's got the life right now. No, but my point is like, is Aaron Glenn, like this is your true, I guess, truly assessing what status Aaron Glenn has within the organization. Is he in a spot where they say, listen, your first year was a complete disaster. You've won max probably 3 games. We're going to deal with that because you're rebuilding a team. Next year, the rookie quarterback, you're probably going to win 3 or 4 games because rookie quarterback is that Aaron Glenn had that much power and that much stability. We're like, yo, okay, that's good. We're willing to endure 2 really bad years for the 3rd year you can win. Is that where he's at right now? Because
it's true. It's too early to tell. I mean, if we lose this week to the Panthers and we lose next week to the following week to the Bengals, yeah, I feel a lot worse. I feel a lot worse than I am right now. But if we show some life, for the remainder of the season, then maybe you feel better about it. But really, the question, the answer to your question about vet QB, and I think we talked about this in a couple streams now. Identify the veteran quarterback that is the A, obvious upgrade, B, on the move and realistic to obtain, and C, the Jets can afford. Well,
they're going to have the cap space. The cap space is going to be an issue.
Right. But it's, if you're trading for a quarterback that's already on a bigger deal, it goes beyond 2020. Like, in other words, if you trade for Kyler Murray, let's say, you have to be okay paying him $40+ million with what he's at right now, understanding that no one on the staff has worked with him. Like, it's not just, a simple like, okay, trade the draft pick. We'll kind of see where he's at.
I
Because
guess my issue that I have, it's my own personal issues. I
Look-
want Glenn to have a competent quarterback next year to really assess what he's as a head coach. Because now this year's like, well, we had Fields, but he wasn't very good. We got to figure it out. Okay, this is going to be that red shirt year as a head coach, which is like, all right, we endured it now. Next year, I don't want to have year 2 of red shirt year. Well, we sucked this year because now we have a rookie quarterback. I don't really want to give Glenn that much leadway. I want to know, okay, listen, are you a good coach or not? So if you give him like a serviceable quarterback in the second year and he's not winning games and they can't run an offense, now we know it's the staff, it's not the players. I feel like you drafting a quarterback is delaying the evaluation of the coaching staff 2 more years. So we could be here 2 years from now, like, man, this Aaron Glenn guy, him and Engstrom, man, they're not the answer. And then we're rebuilding again. That's why I'm trying to avoid that from happening.
Right, and that does make sense. But I think a couple comments. Number one, it would just be classic Jets to finally get the top pick in the draft and then pass on a quarterback, even though the team needs a quarterback, to then try to roll the dice with a veteran, because everyone knows it, dude. It's a quarterback league. If you have that guy, you're in a position. Joe Burrow, Cincinnati. We can go down the list of all the great quarterbacks, but I don't really think we need to. I think we kind of have that knowledge already, right? If you hit the quarterback position, and if you have a top 3 pick, you have a better shot than whatever 29.
But you hit the quarterback position with an excellent coaching staff and pieces around him. So the pieces,
not necessarily, because like Trevor Lawrence had Urban Meyer, and there was.
And look how long it took him to freaking turn it around. How many years has he been there till he finally turned it around? Just this year, he started playing well.
I mean, he's been fun. I wouldn't look at Trevor Lawrence and say, "Man, this guy has been sucking."
Did he match the hype around him and what his ability everybody thought he had?
No, but he was at least playable. I mean, he has a playoff win. He's more playoff wins than Justin Herbert.
Okay, that's fair.
I forgot my
Justin
second
Herbert's
point.
been failed. He's been failed with the Chargers. 100% failed. That coaching staff was clueless out there for years.
Oh, man, what was I going to say?
We're talking about the coaching staff around the quarterback.
Yeah, so I think, I mean, it's a big question. If it was me, I'm going quarterback. Unless you really want to get like cute with it. Think like Raiders. Who was it? Like Khalil Mack, top 5. And then you come back top of round 2. Boom, Derek Carr. Cincinnati Bengals, right? AJ Green.
The Giants did it with Dart.
Yeah, it's another good point. AJ Green, top 5 or top 10. I think he was the 4th overall pick. Andy Dalton, round 2. Boom, boom. You go BPA, and then you go get your quarterback later. And this is a pretty, like, we know, we know Spielman is really high on some of these guys, Carson Beck included. And it seems like in my opinion, like how I'm looking at kind of the top quarterback choice for me right now is Fernando Mendoza. I think he has a lot of traits. He's kind of like the anti-Fields in a lot of ways with accuracy and decision making, and the ball just comes out quick. Granted, it's at the college level, but Mendoza for me right now is QB1. I would say Lenora Sellers is QB2 because of the upside and the potential, I think, is through the roof, dude. Through the roof. I'm pretty damn intrigued by Ty Simpson from Bama. I mean, this guy, he just has like ice in his veins. He's like 4th down, just making tough throws, going to Georgia, going to Missouri, and he's been awesome this season. The problem is with Simpson, he's not really experienced.
Yeah,
like he only has a handful of games under his belt. Is this, could this be a Mitch Trubisky type of thing, right? Where you're passing on Mahomes and Watson for someone, the lightning in the bottle. Okay, we only saw this guy for 12, 13 games, and we're buying into that, whatever. Mateer, I think, will probably go back to school.
I think he goes back.
I think who is the other one that's
Moore?
That I think is Dante Moore. Yeah, Dante Moore I think is going to go back to. I've talked to 2 people that are close to Oregon. Neither of them are even thinking about the NFL draft. They're like, no, like they didn't come out and say like, no, he's not going, but they are also like, like I'll say this, like they don't even like it's not even a thought in both of these guys' heads. They're like,
Yep.
it's the focus is on this year and Moore's development overall. That's one of the reasons why I picked Oregon. I don't really see him leaving
No.
as a 20-year-old redshirt sophomore. I just don't really. I don't know if that makes a whole lot of sense to then go to a bad team at the top of the draft. Nussmeier is interesting because Nussmeier to me reminds me so much of like peak Jimmy Garoppolo, like 2019, 2020, 2021,
Right.
where he has this lightning quick release. He throws such an accurate football. He is like, he throws like his throwing mechanics are like amazing, right? He's
Right.
playing for LSU. There's a lot of pressure on him. He's the son of a coach and everything. But it's like the longer the play goes on, the more riskier it gets that he's just going to launch it into double coverage or make this huge catastrophic mistake, just like Jimmy G. Like when Jimmy's like on time and he's playing in rhythm and he's yeah, Chad Powers, right? When he's playing within the offense, like he's just on the money, especially like when the Niners like they made the Super Bowl with Garoppolo, like everything was just on fire, just boom, 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 like super efficient play. But if it's like, okay, that first second read, they're not really there. Now Garoppolo is like trying to extend the play and he's like rolling out and you just see like weird, strange decisions.
Yep.
Yeah. So Nussmeier to me just, it's funny because no one has compared him to Jimmy G. No one. It's all Jared Goff. But Goff's release is so much, longer than Garoppolo's. Like Garoppolo is like, it's such like this quick punchy thing. The ball just flies right out. So Nussmeier's interesting. Because the reality is the draft doesn't end after one round. If the Jets have the first pick, we also have the 33rd pick, which could potentially QB there, or they can move up. So I know Nussmeier's not having the best season out of all these guys. He's not a Heisman front runner or anything. And there's quite a few players in front of him on that list, but just when I'm purely looking at quarterback prospect, the tools, the mechanics, what he can be at the next level, picturing him in the ink strain offense with all these 5-step drop, balls out, throw it to Garrett Wilson. I do like Nussmeier's fit. And also, for what it's worth, he's always kind of been like that guy. Again, coach, son of a former quarterback, an NFL coach right now. Like it's similar to Shedeur Sanders in the sense of like he's not just hanging out, kind of growing at his own pace and developing. No, like he's been on a fast track, and there's been eyes on there's been pressure that he has to deal with. He backed up Jaden Daniels for a couple years, thought about transferring, but he stuck with it. Stuck with the Tigers. So I'm intrigued with Nussmeier. But then you got Carson Beck, who just is not slowing down. Size, arm strength, decision making. Lots of questions back at Georgia about like off the field stuff. But so far, at Miami, it seems like players and coaches freaking love the guy.
He's got some swag for sure.
He is just not like you're just like it kind of feels like there's a lot of people in the media and whatnot that don't like Beck personally, and they're not giving him credit, not viewing Beck maybe objectively based off of what we're seeing this year.
But would you think like a guy like Beck, his personality, like to me, I think having a certain personality in this market on this Jet team goes a very long way, because if you're soft-spoken like Zach Wilson, you get eaten alive. Like you have to have a certain energy, a certain strength, a certain swag. Like to me, like a Baker Mayfield would thrive as a Jet quarterback, because he is he is arrogant, he's cocky, and he has that refuse to lose mentality where Jet fans would love that stuff. Like he has that energy about him that you need. Like that's why everybody liked Mike White so much. Mike White was such a dog, dude. Like he gave his heart and soul to the team, and you knew you were getting his max energy. He loved the game. You saw the emotion, the passion. I almost think you need that kind of guy for the Jets. You can't have that soft-spoken, timid, like you're seeing Justin Fields do, the house, like a silent leader. Not going to work here. I think you need a quarterback that has a little bit. Even Dart's showing a lot of stuff too right now.
I mean, you can look at like a guy in Eli Manning and Chad Pennington, those NY market, Jets, Giants, but two soft-spoken guys, but just kind of did like their leadership.
Chad had some swag to him though, dude. Chad had some fire in him though, dude. You could see the fire in Chad Pennington though. He brought it to his teammates. He brought it on the field. Eli Manning, I just think that when you don't make the playoffs for 15 years, you're inheriting an albatross on your shoulders where it's like, man, this organization is counting on me to save the world. And you have that pressure. You need to have that fire inside you, like that no nonsense approach that just like, it's my, like, just like, this is my team. I'm going to roll. I'm going to be, all these hours are going to bounce off my chest. Cause like you need that. You can't be a timid player here, man. You got to have some kind of swag to you. Like the way Jackson Dart's handling himself right now is perfect for the Giants because the Giants were lifeless. They had no emotion, no energy. He's given the entire area energy with his emotion and his fire. I think you need that with the Jets, dude.
I think the biggest thing for me, for like specifically like a Jets quarterback, is you got to be mentally strong,
100%.
Because I think Justin Herbert would work with the Jets. It's not going to happen, obviously, but like just his mentality, like he's not like some rah guy.
But he's also tough as nails, though, dude. Like you need that tough. Like Herbert was taking a beating in games, and he comes back firing for more. He was failed because the coaching staff sucked.
Mm-hmm. Right. But just in regards to like the overall like swag and stuff, I just think you got to be strong enough to handle, because look, if the Jets draft a quarterback up at the top of the draft, the media is going to treat this guy like a knight in shining armor. Please save our franchise. We're so bad. We'll do anything to have you. We'll just throwing roses at him at every turn, right? Think of like when Sam Darnold was drafted. Think about when Zach Wilson was drafted. I mean, reporters just going on and on and on and on about training camp throws and practice throws and everything is just so, over analyzed. And then when it doesn't go well, it's just like the knives come out. Everyone's so focused on this is the easy target. He's a young quarterback. It's the Jets. It's not going to work out. Boom. And then it's just, so you got to be mentally strong, right? Handle the highs. Jets win the game. Everyone's like, oh, we're going to Super Bowl. Jets lose the game, fire everyone. You got to kind of have that consistent, steady mindset. And to your point, you kind of think of veteran quarterback like a Goff or someone is more, they're older, they're more mature. They've been in the NFL game. They can handle the ups and downs compared to, a college kid coming in. It's just like, hey, the New York LSU is one thing, Indiana is one thing, Oregon, Penn State, whatever. But the New York Jets are a different beast, and you got to be ready for it. And I think that's why a lot of people, kind of appreciated or liked that about Aaron Glenn, is because he felt like the job, like he was embracing it, he was taking it on. But up to this point, it simply hasn't worked out.
But also that young quarterback is walking into a locker room that's like, you got to prove it to us, kid, because we are tired of losing. We want to know that you are the answer. And he's going to have to earn so much respect from this team in terms of just like, being the heartbeat, being tough, being physical, can handle the lows of this market and all the fans being pissed and everything else. Like you've got to earn a lot with this team because they're tired of losing, dude. They're tired of like being handled like, yo, Zach Wilson's your guy now. He's going to save the world. He didn't do it. Justin Fields is the guy now. He's going to save the world. He's not going to, like, the pressure and when he walks in the locker room, like, all right, you're the new flavor of the day. What can you do now that everybody else couldn't do? It's a tough spot, dude.
I don't know. I just want the team to be young, rebuilding, and not have this mindset of like just so much pressure riding on. But
look at Garrett Wilson right now. Unfortunately, he's hurt, which sucks, and Justin Fields did him no favors yesterday. But like, if you're Garrett Wilson, okay, you brought your teammate back, Justin Fields, complete disaster. Now he's been through Zach, he's been through Aaron Rodgers, which was a mess, and now he's going through this with Justin Fields. So now he signed his new contract. He's happy. All right, Garrett, we're now giving you Mendoza as your next quarterback to save the world. Okay, you gotta think he's gonna be skeptical. Like, all right, is this guy gonna be for real? Because if he's not, if I don't like what's going on, I'm gonna want out of here. Like, don't you think isn't Garrett in that kind of position now where he's like, I want to win, I want to try to go to Hall of Fame, I want to have numbers, I want to get my 100 catches, 1,000 yards. Isn't he kind of got to be kind of skeptical right off the bat?
But the alternative is, okay, the veteran quarterback, like I'm assuming, okay, like, and what you're saying is making sense, but it doesn't really matter what we want if the option isn't out there. I want to,
that's the problem.
Go get a Ferrari tomorrow. I can't go do that. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's, if the veteran quarterback is not available, I don't want the Jets to be like, well, we'll pass on the quarterbacks up at the top of the draft because we're the Jets and we can't develop them and we're scared of the moment, scared of the pressure, whatever. we'll go trade for Kyler Murray at what 30 or 31 years old.
Yeah, I don't want Kyler Murray. That's the one guy I don't want. No, it's a fair
But
point. Like
that's the only. I mean, is there one other quarterback? And I've seen Mac Jones pop up in the chat.
That's because he's lighting it up with the
a lot.
49ers right now.
But the Jets could have had him for $10 million
That's
this past off season. So you kind of think like, okay, well, if they really wanted Mac, like, I mean, dude, Mac freaking threw for, I believe, over 300 yards against the Jets last year.
But that's the thing. Like, I'm giving you a scenario, but I'm not giving you options, which is not fair on my part. But this is just my vision. But that's something that I have to do, like, now over the next 11 games, is try to find a veteran quarterback I want to try to find to kind of speed up this process. That's all I'm trying to do, because the growing pains of rookie quarterback. First of all, I don't have any faith in the staff, which hopefully changes over the next 2 months. And it's just like having a veteran, you kind of know what this staff is and what this team really is, because it's like, all right, been there, done that, can make all the throws, can run a competent offense. Now we're going to be like, then you can assess Glenn and Engstrand a lot sooner. I would love Jameis Winston, dude. He'd just be fun, but he's not going nowhere. But that, not as a starter though, as just like for the rest of this year. But I got to find somebody to bother you with.
I know. I mean, like if you can name someone,
I don't know who it is.
like I would love to hear. I mean, like you're trying to think like out of the box. Like the Saints did draft Tyler Shuck. Could maybe Spencer Rattler be available? Is that like an out of the box thing? But that just feels like a gamble. Because
if you put yourself in a position where you can use that first pick as either to trade back and get more picks, or it's not first pick, it's a top 3 pick. If you could use that on the best wide receiver in the draft or the best offensive player in the draft, because you already have your quarterback, that makes things a lot more interesting, doesn't it? Because then you're really speeding up your rebuild.
Well, that makes a lot of sense if you're sold on like a Nussmeier or a Beck or someone like that, where you can where you feel like, okay, you know, we can go out and get like our preferred quarterback and this massive, treasure trove of picks.
Yeah, no, 2 is not an answer for me. That's just not the guy. Deshaun Watson's not that guy. Absolutely not. I'll have to do some research. I'm going to have to spend a lot of time researching rosters and getting creatives. We're going to start my John Harbaugh campaign, so that's going to start in about 2 weeks. So get ready for that.
I don't want the Jets to take a chance on Anthony Richardson. Nope. That just doesn't feel like that would be an environment for him to have success. Bryce Young, same kind of deal.
Not Gardner Minshew. No. I always like Gardner Minshew, though. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, and like there's nothing wrong with some of these guys, right? Like Jameis Winston and stuff, but those are like 1 year stopgaps. Yeah. If
you want a guy for like next 4 to 5 years.
Yeah, I'm not passing on a quarterback. Like Jared Goff is not viewed when they picked him up as like some 1 year rental. Nope. Trey Lance, but that's not like it's interesting for like this season, what we were talking about before.
Yep. Tanner McKee.
But that's like an unknown. Like,
yep.
Let me just kind of like I like McKee, right? But it's April. It's April, right? We're a week before the NFL draft. The Jets, let's say, have the 3rd pick. We get a report. We're trading for Tanner McKee. And Ian Rappaport comes out the next day. The New York Jets are no longer interested in quarterbacks up at the top of the draft. And they're going to be moving forward with Tanner McKee as their, the guy of the future.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a lot of faith in that right now?
But if you say Tanner McKee, it depends on what you're trading for him too. But if you go Tanner McKee and you draft a quarterback high in the 2nd round, that's your competition going forward. I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah. I mean, it just kind of feels like, and also too, I don't see the Eagles letting him go for nothing.
They like him.
So,
I can't believe we're here already. Yeah. We're having this conversation on October 13th. Can you believe this?
Yeah, I mean, Russ is not an option. Geno Smith is just throwing interception after interception after interception. Yeah, I mean, I guess you can throw out the Kirk Cousins idea, but see, that would be another type of like mentor situation. Yeah, I'm not trading for Kirk Cousins and saying like we're good at quarterback for the next 5 years.
I want the guy that I'm making a move for. You want the veteran to be here for like 3 or 4 years at least, like Carson Wentz. I think he's not that answer either.
Dude, I was talking to my boy Kyle the other night. One guy that just dropped off the face of the earth, Ryan Tannehill, man.
Yep, he retired and that was it. They said even like who's looking for a quarterback. The Bengals didn't even call him. They didn't even mention him.
Yeah.
Snoop Huntley. Well, I guess
Yeah,
we put kind of went down a rabbit hole with the quarterback thing, but I think it's just because Danny Dimes. Yeah,
he's staying with Indy though.
Yeah,
I don't see the Colts
Nope.
just letting him bounce.
Well, I guess in summary of this recap of the game, it's a mess. Defense and special teams were good. Offense was terrible. Aaron Glenn was terrible. And now we go into this week, which is this a must-win week, do you think?
I mean, the Dolphins game was a must-win, so. But I'll tell you what, if we lose to the Carolina Panthers, I pretty much have no hope for the rest of the season to do like literally anything.
So if we lose to the Panthers, how many games do you think we win this year?
2.
Oh, my God, you think so?
Again, dude, like the NFL is a weird year or a weird league. Panthers beat Falcons by 30, and then the Falcons are destroying the Buffalo Bills. Like it's a Green Bay, the Packers, one of the best teams in the league, scored 10 points at Cleveland with Joe Flacco, turnover-prone Joe Flacco. So
your level of confidence on Sunday.
You know what? I'm gonna say this, right? If the defense looks like how they did, Bryce Young and co coming into town, hard-fought victory against Dallas. If we get that same defensive performance and Wilkes is starting to kind of click a little bit defensively, special teams, focus hitting his kicks, McNamara's pinning him deep. If Fields executes, I actually like our chances. But here's the deal. If Fields is not executing, you got to go to Tyrod Taylor at halftime.
But your level of confidence is what?
Then what?
Your level of confidence is what? 1 to 10.
I'm gonna go 8.
8? What's in that water bottle, dude? There's something in that water. Are you out of your mind? 8?
If you want something optimistic to think about tonight, Justin Fields was sacked 9 times for 55 yards, had 45 yards passing.
Mm-hmm.
Garrett Wilson was a non-factor. Breece Hall, non-factor. And the Jets were 30 yards away from kicking the game-winning field goal against a Denver Broncos team, which is in second place in the AFC West and has had some awesome victories this year. Think about that. Somehow.
They're blaming your cat for this now somehow. All right.
I'm
going to say, you're saying 8. I'm going to say 4. And especially now with Garrett Wilson out, it's like this offense could actually get worse. And the fact that I'm expecting Tyrod Taylor to play by halftime. I think Fields can get booed off the field. I really think so.
Yeah, I mean that's another whole thing, man. Like another thing that Glenn, it had to have entered Glenn's mind in the press conference today, right? Which is, if Field literally one drive, if Fields misses one throw, if he gets sacked, the Boo Birds are going to be coming
100%.
out. It's at MetLife Stadium against a team that, negative 10 net yard. That's like factoring in the.
But that's his level of confidence. It's negative 10. And
yeah, yeah. He it was not good. It was not good at all.
Well, this was.
I don't know. We'll see, dude. We'll freaking see. All right. So for if the Jets lose against Carolina, I'm just going to give you your answer because you love asking me that question every week. The answer for the rest of the year will be 0. If the Jets lose to the Panthers, don't ask me the question. It's 0 every week from here on out.
That's fair enough.
But one last, kind of ride here. One last chance at giving the Jets a freaking high rating. So
fair enough. Well, thank you guys for joining us tonight. We were all over the place. It's all my fault because I was pissed off and I'm looking for answers now. So I drove you crazy because I'm just like, I hate the coach. I hate the quarterback. I want to find answers by tomorrow. We're not going to be able to do that, unfortunately. So, and now my job for the next week is to find a veteran quarterback that we can campaign around. So that's going to have to be my job. What else can we do? It's October, man. We got to talk draft in 2 weeks. So, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, dude. Brownlee, man, he was a beast.
He was good.
Bro, one game. This guy shows up a week ago. He didn't even really practice because he was hurt. Then he starts practicing his one game with the Jets and had more production than Michael Carter in 4 games.
Yep. He brought a whole level of intensity. His intensity and Jermaine Johnson's intensity it just followed through. The teammates all rallied around it, which was good to see. And
and I don't know if you follow him. Sorry, what'd you say?
No, again, he's on social media. He's awesome.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't know if you follow him on Twitter, but like he's tweeting at Jets players like, "Yeah, man, like I got your back and stuff like that." Is what we need in the Jets locker room.
So thank you guys for joining us. We're completely all over the place tonight, but the Jets are 0-6. What are you gonna do? Next week we're gonna be discussing the Jets' victory over the Panthers on Ian's channel.
First up of the season.
We wouldn't even know how to handle it. We wouldn't know what to do with ourselves if they won a game at this point.
I know. throw a parade. We go crazy.
We're talking Aaron Glenn's back. We found our coach and everything else. So thank you guys for joining us. We appreciate it. And a long one, hour and a half. Next week, 7 o'clock at his channel. We did tonight because I was so anxious to talk to you. I couldn't wait one more day because I have all this anger inside of me. So I had to release it. So now you've been my therapy, dude. I appreciate this.
Yeah, dude, I got you. I mean, wait, was this episode 100, by the way?
No, I think this is 90 or 99.
We're getting close. Hey, maybe the 100th episode will be talking about Glenn's first win.
There we go.
First win.
Everybody have a good week. We'll talk to you next week. Can you imagine?
J-E-T-S,